So it's Saturday, March 27th, and I'm hiking the Alafia River Corridor Nature Preserve. This is in Alafia, Florida, and one of my favorite trails in Hillsborough County. And I like it because it's got a lot of diverse, terrain that's typical of Florida. And as the title of the trail says, it's a corridor, and it's a nature preserve. And I've seen quite a bit of wildlife out here on previous hikes. Hopefully we'll capture some today. It's a one of those typical Florida trails. You're not going to get a lot of hills. Thus, you look at me and you're saying, well, Buttons, why you have a pack on? Well, I'm doing this. I like to do during pre-hike to put my pack on to train. I've been doing it now for about 3 weeks this season, and I can already tell the difference. My legs are hardened up and my shoulders are, and so that's why I have the pack on. Not necessary. Don't feel like you have to come out here with a lot of supplies. But like any other trail, make sure you have plenty of water on you. That's pretty critical. So it's daybreak now, and hopefully I can give you a good idea of the trail. I'm using the I'm using the All Trails app, and I'm doing the exact hike that is on the All Trails app. And I highly recommend that if you don't have it, purchase it for your area and use it, because a couple of reasons. One, it'll really reveal trails that you never knew existed in your area. And number two, I just find it that the trails are sometimes confusing, and a GPS app kind of straightens those things out and keeps you on the trail. This particular trail, I'll show you a couple of malfunction junctions, and seriously, without the GPS app, I would have never been able to really hike this trail, or I probably would have gotten lost. But anyway, hope you enjoy it. Excuse me, had a bug just fly into my mouth. And we'll show you more. This is typical of the first, I'd say, 2 miles, and a lot of the trail is pretty wide, and not anything that's too challenging. But you get a really good sense of the Florida feel. I think this was an old phosphate mine, because there's this bridge right here, and it's a very well made bridge that you can see. It's built to hold vehicles, and this crosses the Alafia River. You can see how low the river is. we have not had very much rain recently. This is our dry season here in the Tampa area, and the river is full of clear spring water. Very, very pretty. I don't know if you could drink it straight out of the river, but it's pretty clean water though. But you come up on this bridge pretty quick in the hike. Another nice thing about this trail that I like over a lot of trails in the area is the canopy. Overall, the trail has quite a bit of tree cover, and so as the morning goes along and the temperatures rise and the sun rises, you get some nice shade. And that's not true for a lot of the trails in the area. Show you a little more as we get down there. This is a nice junction in the trail. Really pretty this time of the morning. It has the rubble over there. Big pile of cement rubble. That looks kind of neat. You come up to this junction, and this is where you take the turn on all trails. Flock of ibises. Take a turn on the trail to start the loops. And one of the other out and backs. I really like this time of the morning. I try to get out at every trail just at daybreak. And obviously it's because of the temperature, but also because I just think it's the prettiest part of the day. Second being sunset, which I don't get out on trails locally at sunset very often. But here's the rubble. Like I said, this used to be a phosphate mine, and it's now a park or a trail. So we're going up straight ahead, but we'll be coming back from this direction. So this is the junction, and like I said, most of the trail on this part is like this, and just a nice, pleasant walk. There you go, a little few deer. Yeah, I've seen many deer out here, and huge mature gopher tortoises. They're endangered. Seen an eagle. Seen some of the biggest wild hogs I've ever seen. And Saw a coral snake once. That's really about the only snake I've ever seen. Hawks, huge parrot-headed woodpeckers, bobcat, coyote on this trail. So it is, at the right time of the day, it is a trail that you can spot wildlife. I don't know if I mentioned I saw an eagle on here and an osprey too. They're pretty common around here. I mean, the ospreys are, not the eagles. But I'll check in with you again, the next interesting spot. One thing I failed to mention was the first part of the trail. If you follow the red blaze, you're doing the trail correctly. The blazes change if you do the all trails, so, but it's red, and it's pretty clearly marked too. So just look for the red blaze. So as you can see, we're up on a ridge, and I believe what this is where the phosphate mine, where they dug the phosphate, and these ridges are the roads that they use to transport it. I mean, I'm not a phosphate mine expert, but what is really cool about this trail is you're up on these ridges and you're kind of looking at the treetops, and we will go down into this area, down this low area at some point. And that's what I like about it, is the diversity of the trail. And there's some nice views. I mean, you got some bogs, you got some just the tops of the trees and things like that, which add to the views. You don't get that on most trails in Florida. So it's a big plus on the nature preserve. I'll show you some more of these spots as we get to some of the more special ones, but just wanted to point that out. Okay, you'll see this red marker over here to the right, and this trail here. This is actually a cut through to the other trail that I mentioned previously that you come back on. So to hike the all trails and do the biggest length of the trail here, you'll ignore this cut through. And there is a low spot that can get quite wet during wet season. It's dry right now, no worries there. But it is an option. So you can come over here, cut through here to the other trail, when you get to the other trail, take a left, and you can go right back to the parking lot. I don't know the mileage, never done it, so, but that is an option. Now, just like I said, that's a red trail marker. We're gonna keep going straight, and look what happens. It changes to the yellow marker up here. So that junction is a junction you want to be aware of. Just stay straight and get on the yellow trail. Okay, this is kind of like Malfunction Junction here. And I wanted to show this to you. If you were to hike this, if you look straight ahead, that's a yellow blaze. You do not go to the yellow blaze to do the all trails hike. You're going to go down the hill. If you're going to bear right, you're going to go down the hill, and like I said, this is confusing because you got a blaze here, there was a blaze down here, then you got this right hand turn. Okay, the way that you go is to the right. This is the way to go. And there is no blaze here, all right? So just remember that, and you're gonna be good. Because what you're doing here is a loop, and you're going down into these low areas that I showed you earlier. This is where you see quite a bit of wildlife. So you're gonna bear right. You'll see a blaze up here, but it's a ways up here. Trust me, the first time I hiked this, first few times I hiked this, I could not figure it out to save my life. And even with the All Trails app. But then all of a sudden, guess what? Here's a yellow blaze with an arrow. So remember, when you get to that junction, bear right and then bear hard right to do the loop. It's a beautiful marsh prairie. So all along the trail, I noticed these palm trees are being burned. And at first I thought it was a controlled burn, but I think what they're trying to do is eliminate, these are non-native palm trees, by the way, and they're trying to eliminate these palm trees for some reason. Maybe they're diseased, I don't know. But specifically, they're burning these palm trees, so interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen that, but it's good to see they can do a controlled burn like this to deal with whatever they're dealing with here, whether it be disease or trying to limit the non-native plants. Okay, here's the other tricky part. If you don't be careful, if you're not careful, you'll go past it. You'll see this yellow blaze ahead of me. And then you'll see this trail to the right. This has a wet sign. That sign obviously is not always there. I happened to have hiked this trail yesterday. It's not that wet, but it is wet. And so if you go straight, you're gonna go right back to where you came from. I mean, you're gonna miss a large portion of the trail if you were to go straight. So you got to keep your eye out for this right-hand turn. And this was the part that I used to miss all the time. And so keep your eye out for it. If you do pass it up, you'll probably recognize the part that you entered, where you entered on this loop. And you can just turn around and come back here. That's how I ended up finding it, or finding the right trail after 2 or 3 times of hiking this. So be aware of this malfunction junction here, okay? Basically, what you're doing on this portion is you're hiking towards the point of the needle. There's like a little needle that sticks out that you'll see on the trail. And they said it was wet, and this is what I'm talking about. A little bit of mud here. So this is muddy in the dry season, and it's probably muddy from some kind of spring runoff or something like that. Think about what it's going to be. It's a little bit of rain. Not real pleasant to hike on. So I wanted to give you a feel for this and what to expect in dry season. I don't hike it in the wet season, so I don't know what it's like in wet season. And I'm not adverse to getting my feet wet or muddy or anything. Certainly I've done that enough in some through hikes. But if I'm doing a day hike, and I don't particularly like to do that. So but something to think about. Around mile 4.1, you'll come to this junction, and you just stay straight. Don't go left. Okay, this is mile 4.5, and I almost did it. They have a sign, trail sign, to take a left here, but if you're doing the All Trails map, which is what we're doing today, you go straight. And the trail is less maintained because not as many people do it, but this is the route you go. Do not go left. You'll cut off a little bit. Not a big deal because you'll get on the same trail that you want to go back on, but we're trying to achieve the map out the same trail as the All Trails. So you go straight. There's no marker for straight, and the trail's not as maintained, but there is a trail there. You can see the opening and everything. Okay, you come up on this gate and you take a left. Okay, cancel what I said in the last video, last two videos actually, because I went out to that gate and that is not the way for the All Trails mapping. So, you know, it's just a little extra hike, but you'll see it on my map. I walked around to try to find the All Trails return and I couldn't find it. So I'm gonna go up on this hill. I've only done this particular hike one time, so this is an adventure a little bit. This part of it is an adventure, I should say. So you're joining me on that. So we're gonna go up this hill and see what happens next. And I'll check back with you. So you can see this is marsh down below this ridge, and really critical habitat for our wildlife here in Florida. Some other little facts are that this is a county park, so you can come on it at daybreak. The state parks have hours of operation that you have to adhere to. This particular park is the Alafia River Nature Corridor, is a hiking footpath only trail. You cannot use a bike on it. Now, not to say people do it, but it's not for biking. And so you will find runners on it and other people hiking, but not bikers. But that's one of the things I love about this trail, is there's so much diverse habitat, and it's without it we wouldn't see the wildlife that we see throughout Hillsborough County. This is a nice addition. They filled this low spot in, and for years you can see these telephone poles. The telephone poles were the way across and sometimes were quite precarious if it was raining or wet, especially just trying to go across this one pole right here, and then you have the two. But they filled this in and put dirt in, and you can see here you have marsh on both sides. So again, rainy season, it'll still be a low spot. Okay, when you come to the end of the little offshoot trail, you actually, well, not the end of it, but you come to an area, an open area where there's a gate right here. And if you come down here, you'll see a long, wide open area. This is actually the gas pipeline right here. I took a picture of this early this morning, and you can actually come straight instead of taking a right at the trail, the two trails. You can go straight and get to this next spot that we're going to be taking a left for the surprise. I want to show you this one area. It's a surprise area, but let me take you on up there. So again, you're gonna have to be careful, because if you don't look, you'll miss this turn. And the best thing I can tell you, the best indicator of the turn, is this A sign right here. You'll see the A sign. And this, if you go straight, it'll lead you right back to the parking lot. But you want to do the all trails trail, you have to take a left at the A sign, and I'll show you the surprise that's at the end of this trail. This is I think a gopher tortoise hole. At one day I saw a big, huge gopher tortoise right here on the entrance, and it may have been taken, and gopher tortoise holes are taken over by other animals, so it could be something else now, but one of the biggest gopher tortoise I've ever seen has been in this spot. And also in this area, I've hiked it, and there was a nice coral snake across the trail. Coral snakes are, of course, poisonous, but they are non-aggressive, and they're literally, you know, you have to be careful around them, but they have very small fangs. It would be highly unusual for you to be bit by a coral snake. And so they are here. I haven't seen any other venomous snakes on here, but I have seen some giant black snakes, racers, and a huge indigo. So indigo is a threatened snake in Florida, and I saw at least probably a 5-foot indigo, and that was out there on the entrance. So I guess this area, because down here, if you look down, this marshy down there must be a lot of, I don't know, prey and good hiding spots and nesting spots for it. But very, very neat spot on the trail. Very much worth the out and back. Highly recommend it. You'll see why too. Okay, we're coming to the end of the out and back little spur trail, and it opens up to a campsite, and it's a really nice campsite. Scooter and I have overnighted here, and it's a very surprisingly nice campsite. You'll see over here that it has a picnic table, a couple of benches, fire pit, plenty of sites, plenty of room for sites, flat spots. One of the most unique things about this area, to me, is this pitcher pump. So if you needed water for something, you have a working pitcher pump. I'll show you. Let me get it going here for you. And the water's got some iron in it, so that's why it's a little yellow, but once you pump it for a while, you get a lot of, it gets to the clear water, and the water's really sweet. It's not bad at all. I just hope they don't let it break. There's a spot right there that's kind of very narrow. It's getting rusted, but what a nice feature. And it looks like if you decided to haul up a boat, you have a little place to do a well, you could haul a kayak up, I guess, but you'd have to wheel it. Be a pretty good wheel to get it up here, but I thought you'd like to see this pond too. Really nice pond. And it has to be, I'm pretty certain it's spring fed, because I've come up here in drought conditions and it's been the same level. So you know the water's good. And I'd venture to say there'd be a few fish in here, but it would be a very long haul to bring something up here. So we head back. We're doing the back to the out and back. By the way, I don't know if you have to have reservations to use the campsite. Scott and I didn't reserve anything. I mean, we just came up here and camped, and certainly on the along the trail there are many places you can camp. But we contacted the Parks Department and told them we were going to be overnight camping, and they were very nice. So I think just to, you know, to be a good trail person, probably contacting the Parks Department would be appropriate. But anyway, this particular campsite, I don't know that you have to reserve it. It's so remote compared to any other campsites. But if you wanted to fish in the pond, you would need to have a fishing license. But it would be a pretty cool experience. I would definitely not float tube it. There are definitely gators in that pond. I've seen them. So back to the trail. So this is the approach to the trail from the spur trail. I forgot to take a video showing going onto the spur trail, but it's a right-hand turn. If you see this, sign straight ahead, the 3 sign, you take a right, and when you come back, you go back to the right. But it's fairly easy to find. And there's where it looks like going down. I think it's worth it. But you could skip it and go straight. Shorten your hike a little bit. What I'm doing now is going back towards the parking lot. And we will join at the junction of the 2 trails we saw this morning. The terrain is basically the same as I've shown you before. We're up on this ridge. On either side is a drop off, and you have tree canopy. the sun's come up in the morning this morning, and we're supposed to get into the high 80s and 90s. It won't happen while I'm on the trail, but it's nice to have this canopy for most of, if not 80-90% of your hike. So another reason I like this trail, as I've mentioned before, is the tree canopy, but it plays a big deal this time of the day. And we won't get a lot of cold fronts. This is March 27th, and it won't be very many cold fronts come through to drop the temperatures down now. So going out, if you want to hike, going out early when going to trails that have tree canopy are a good idea. So, and you know, you don't really hike much. There's a little bit of hiking, but you get into May and June, when you get into the rains and the heat, you know, that's our Florida winter. Sorry for the bounciness. Oh yeah, this is the cut through to the other trail. You can cut through here, and again, give you another option for your hike. You could shorten it down and do the cut through. I don't quite know what that would be miles wise, but I think it's right around 5. It's a nice little hike, and it's dry except for this one spot down here. You can see it really from here down there where the tire tracks are, but nice little hike. Okay, I just want to show you where we exit to get back on the trail to return to the parking lot. You'll remember this morning. We're coming out here. You remember the rocks, I'm sure. We went straight. That's where we started. And this is where we're coming out. And of course you could reverse it, go start up this trail and come out the other one, but All Trails does it the different way. So now we're coming past the rocks now, and we're doing the second out and back. Yeah, we'll come down here. And you can see right here, this is proof that they use this for some kind of industrial purpose, because they held tanks right here with these tank holders, and there's stands over there. But we come out of here, and you'll recall this morning it was beautiful, it had a mist on it. And if you go way on up there, that's where the spur trail is, and the campsite I showed you. And this is the way back to the parking lot. So I'll check in at the parking lot unless I see something worthy to show you. So I'm back at the parking lot. All Trail says it was 10.5 miles. My gut hooks, my Garmin says 10.2, probably in between both of them. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the Alafia River Nature Corridor Trail. As you can see, it's really a nice trail, and if you're in Hillsborough County, I'd recommend it. And it's my favorite trail. Probably be back on it, training, and hope you see you hiking. Thanks for watching.